How about Bernie Sanders' Green New Deal? He released his plan today. Bernie Sanders. And he has a 10-year plan. He has a 10-year economic plan, Bernie Sanders. Can you believe it, guys? This socialist has a 10-year economic plan for planning the economy. Yeah, you know who else had multi-year economic plans? Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong. They had their 5-year plans. Well, Bernie has a 10-year plan. That's what makes him better than the communists, because they only plan 5 years out. But Bernie, he plans 10 years out. And his economic plan, the Green Leap Forward, as I like to call it, Bernie Sanders admits is going to add $16 trillion over 10 years. It's going to cost $16 trillion over 10 years. So it's going to cost about $1.6 trillion annually. So let's do some Bernie math for a second. Bernie Sanders happily admits that his Green Leap Forward will cost $1.6 trillion. And he's happily admitted multiple times that his Medicare for All plan will cost $3.2 trillion at the very least. So, off of 2 of Bernie's plans alone, he's proposing to add $4.8 trillion in annual spending. And for those keeping score at home, the United States government, the current federal budget is about $4.4 trillion. That's the current federal spending budget, and the government has to spend, or has to borrow, about an estimated $800 to $900 billion to cover that budget. So the current tax revenue is probably around 3.5, 3.6 trillion. Current spending's 4.4 trillion. Can't even afford that. We need to borrow almost $1 trillion just to get to that. And Bernie just wants to add another 4.8 trillion. No big deal. So everyone's taxes are going up. And Bernie pretty much admits this. He even says this about Medicare for All. Like, yeah, everyone's taxes are going up, but look at the bright side. You don't have to buy health insurance. You won't have to pay co-pays. You won't have to pay deductibles. Isn't it great, everyone? Because a lot of Bernie bros and a lot of people at networks like TYT, a lot of lefties, they like to act like, oh, we'll just pay for all this by taxing the corporations and the 1%. But no, everyone's taxes are going up. Let's not beat around the bush here. Bernie admits this. $1.6 trillion, plans on creating an estimated 20 million jobs. $20 million jobs, which I presume will pay at least $15 an hour, so that's $30,000 per job. That's $600 billion a year. And Bernie says, oh, well, this plan will pay for itself. That's what Bernie wants you to think. He's like, oh, this plan will pay for itself, because he doesn't want you to ask where the money's coming from. So he says, oh, our economic experts, they say this will pay for itself. And one of the talking points is that, with the 20 million jobs that are created, which I assume will be, guaranteed by government spending. But assume about 20 million of those jobs come from whatever's left of the private sector. If you were to tax as much as 50% of that $600 billion income, you'd only get $300 billion a year in revenue. So you'd still need another $1.3 trillion, and Bernie says, "Oh, we're gonna take on the fossil fuel industry." Well, if you eliminate fossil fuels, because that's what he wants to do, he wants to go 100% solar, wind, and geothermal, what he calls renewables. So again, no nuclear, no hydroelectric, just wind, solar, and geothermal. Definitely got to get rid of fossil fuels, though. But if you destroy the fossil fuel industry, well, they won't be making any money for you to tax. But I mean, this is just classic socialism. They have these economic plans. They don't want you to ask how to pay for it. You see this from Kyle Kulinski again all the time. Oh, how dare they ask Bernie how he's going to pay for it? Well, again, 4.8 trillion in additional annual spending. That's not going to be easy to pay for. Oh, we'll make the corporations and the rich pay their fair share. Meanwhile, the top 1% pays about 38% of the income taxes. The top 10% of income earners pays about 70% of the income taxes. Top 50% of income earners in America pay about 98% of the federal income taxes. They're already paying more than a disproportionate fair share of the taxes. And Bernie thinks, there's more to squeeze out of them, so no big deal. Everyone's taxes are going up under a Bernie Sanders presidency. And everyone's standard of living is going down. And Bernie also said in a tweet that he wants to go after the fossil fuel companies. Wants to prosecute them. So yeah, I mean, it's just classic communist nonsense. With his economic plans, his 5-year plans, his 10-year plans. And his prosecution of business executives. These colorful-ass bunnies. There we go. Spin. Are coins even that important? I like to save them in case I need to buy healthcare, because that's how Mario replenishes his health, is by getting coins. So I assume he just uses that to pay for private health insurance, which prolongs his life. that turtle shell's just going into oblivion. Imagine being in space and a giant turtle shell just flying by. Also, Bernie tweeted something today about how, part of the climate issue is addressing communities who are under-resourced, yet he wants to make one of the most valuable resources in America, in the world, fossil fuel energy. He just wants to make that illegal. I'm supposed to throw it at these guys. Boom. See what these toads have to say. Stupid octopuses. It's octopi, you moron! What kind of education system do they have in Toadland, in the Mushroom Kingdom? I bet a few shells would take care of that little problem. You gotta kill turtles to kill octopi in the Mario universe. I guess they're Koopas, though. They're not turtles.